What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo and Joey Wright. And joining us today, we have our great friend, Andrew Hall, here with us. For those of you that do not know Andrew, you can find him on Twitter at Andrew Hall FF. He's a writer and ranker over at Fantasy Pros, the host of the Dynasty Junkies podcast, and a host over on All Day Both Ways. And Andrew, we are excited to have you back here on the Fantasy Football Game Show with us.
Oh, I'm excited to be here, but I'm terrified for the game. I'm just going to put it that way. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I love the name of it, Quotey McQuoteFace, but I've seen it before, and I'm like 95% sure I'm going to do terrible at this, but it doesn't matter. It's here for fun, not for points. It'll be a good time.
Well, Andrew, if it makes you feel better, Joey was out of commission most of the weekend. JL recovering from a wedding, so we may be on level playing field with some quotes here going into today's game.
I'm going to need it.
We got Craig in the chat stopping by saying, FYF fam, I was thinking about how far AI has advanced. Pretty soon we'll be able to have a show where Joey's voice and image are the host, guest, and other contestants. Imagine that.
Oh, hi.
Oh.
Many people do. I had an idea for certain citations. It was like Twilight Zone where everybody talked like that. And I thought it'd be really fun. And I just couldn't find enough people to do it with me.
Well, now with the power of AI, Joey, you don't even need friends or other people to support your ideas. You can do it all on your own. We got Craig also stopping by as our chat historian saying Andrew is on for the 5th time today. Quotey McQuoteFace is a new game and going for that first dub. We'll see if you can get that dub on today's show, Andrew. Joey's
That's what I said.
Scott stopping by with 4 wonderful humans on the show today and at least one in the chat. You guys can fight over who it is. And one dog. We got Dustin stopping by with the hashtag Team Joey. And Andrea, what's up?
Andrea!
And also, Andrew showing up on the show and in the chat, thanking Craig for the reminder of his 0-3 record.
Can't help it.
Nice.
We got Herms over here saying, greetings, FYFers, and hello, world. Prepare for the Zach Evans takeover.
Zac Efron takeover.
Oh, man, if Zac Efron was all of a sudden the starting running back for the Rams, I'd be not
excited.
rostering him in many leagues because he's a very little man, and I don't think that would go well in the NFL. With that, before we say hi to everybody else here, I didn't want to ask you, Andrew, I'm going to ask you first. Zach Evans is expected to get the bulk of the carries here in LA with Ronnie Rivers and Kyron Williams both going down. There's talk of Royce Freeman being elevated from the practice squad up to join him as at least a second healthy running back on the roster. Are you buying that Zach Evans is startable, given he's 1 PPR point through the first 6 weeks of the season?
He's startable this week because of all the other injuries and all of the other buys and everything else going on. I feel like this is the kind of week where I think I'm not alone here too. I think a lot of people are going to start up Zach Evans where they have him. I know I've got some waiver claims in tonight to try to get him in redraft, might as well. But I also wouldn't be shocked at all if Zach Evans gets 8 carries for 30 yards and Royce Freeman gets 9 carries for 28 yards or something like that. And it's just neither one of them are worth starting. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I feel like it's going to happen. I've been burned by this trick before. You know what I mean? So I'm not excited unless I already roster him in Dynasty. And then I'm like, yeah, man, let's go. But other than that, we'll see. I don't want to get too excited till we see something actually on the field.
Joey, any more optimism for Zach Evans, or are you feeling similarly hesitant to Andrew here?
I'm feeling right about where Andrew's at. I do have him in a few dynasty leagues, so I am kind of excited for that. But I'm excited because he's there. I'm not exactly excited to start him, but it's a body in a like super by NATO, like 6 teams on bye this week, so he's going to be serviceable at least.
Oh, I like by NATO better than Bipocalypse. I'm going to go change that everywhere I've written Bipocalypse.
That's
right now.
Heath Cummings, I think, coined by NATO.
I'll make sure to give him credit.
Give credit where credit's due. Yeah.
We got Apple in here. I just fact checked this just to make sure. Julio signing with Philly on a 1-year deal right now. So Philly adding another weapon in the receiving game. Julio Jones. Did
they need another weapon? Like, what? I didn't think they were desperate like this. Like,
something's not working in that offense right now. They're winning most of their games, but it doesn't seem to be flying. John Luke, any interest in Julio for fantasy, or is this just a better for the NFL team maybe than fantasy managers NFL move?
Most likely this isn't going to impact you from a fantasy perspective, but if you have to spot Julio Jones signing to the high-powered offense, like a top 5, what's considered a top 5 offense in the league, could be worth a stash if you have the room. I'm not going out of my way. I'm not doing anything Not doing anything over the minimum. Then I'll
Hey, you hear that, Julio? You're nothing on JL's team. You're nothing.
Get out of here.
We got Dame in the chat with the hey FYF. What's up?
Yeah.
Welcome in. And Dustin, hyped to see Andrew in here. As is Scampers. Happy Tuesday, FYF.
Scampers.
And Andrew.
Love it.
Jay stopping by with the hi diddly ho FYF Arenos.
Settle down, Jay.
And One Nation with the understated what up. What up, One Nation?
What's up?
Glad to have you in here.
I like the new picture, One Nation.
I was just thinking, is that a new pick? I'm a big Tiger guy.
Tiger.
Albert stopping by with the hello, everyone. What's up, Albert? Welcome in, my friend. And Scampers with the important update. Yesterday, JL, all you needed to surpass Joey to guarantee safety was one catch from Quentin Johnston. Luckily, our friend Carlos bailed you out because Quentin Johnston did not have a single catch last night. If Austin Eckler scores 26 points, you were going home. But you and Joey and myself, thanks to a Brandon Cooks touchdown, all advancing in the listener league this week. So it's getting close, guys. It's getting tight in this listener league.
I encourage all of you to go to our FYF Discord and check out my reaction to not getting eliminated last night. There's a certain movie clip that I can't quote here on air because we wouldn't get canceled, would we? But anyways, my kids are probably watching at their daycare, so I can't quote it, but you should go.
They do play us on all. We are syndicated in all daycares across America.
That's the deal that I brokered for us, and you guys thank me every day for it. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
It's
the only reason I accepted the show. Like I'm going to be on a daycare. This is great. Like, get them young. Get that audience when they're ready. You know.
We got Ladarius stopping by as well, saying good afternoon, all. What's up, Ladarius? Welcome in, my friend. And Craig also stopping by saying, have y'all seen how buff Zac Efron is now for the Iron Claw film? Holy smokes, he is huge. So maybe Zac Efron, I'll retract my previous statement. I apologize for calling you a very small man, but I still wouldn't start you in fantasy if you were the starting running back for the Los Angeles Rams. Also, Scampers agree on that it is scary how big he is. And Scott down here just saying, get Julio a ring. It does feel like it would be cool to watch Julio Jones get a ring there in Philly after the career he had in Atlanta. That would be absolutely awesome. I see some questions in here. We're going to hit some of these now before we get into our game of Quotey McQuoteFace. But if you guys have more questions, waiver wire questions, start sit questions, trade questions, relationship questions, throw them in the chat. We'd be more than happy to help. To the best
medical,
of our
tax,
abilities.
Legal. We handle it all.
Groffalo, Grunewald, and Wright with special guest helper Andrew Hall. Andrew will cover all legal and medical and construction related questions. We'll cover the rest.
Okay, sounds good.
I specialize in ear, nose, and throat questions.
Especially the nose. Grimmin here with a question for us. First, the kicker question wants to know, do I keep Graham Gano this week or go for Daniel Carlson? Does anybody have a strong kicker opinion between these two guys in week 7?
Go Carlson. He's going up against Chicago. They'll probably score a lot of points. And the New York Giants have just not been scoring. So I don't know what to tell you there.
I'm with you, JL. You got a bunch of head nods down here. Now, the second part, Puka Nacua, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk, or Jalen Warren for flex in full PPR. Andrew, if you're looking at these 4 names, which one are you flexing in week 7?
I mean, it's hard not to go with Puka, right? He's been kind of a stud this year. And even with Cooper Kupp obviously coming back, Puka had a bad down week this week, of course. I don't think that stays the same. And we just talked about the running back situation there. I feel like Puka's probably the one I go with, but Godwin's tempting too. I really think that team is looking good. And I think that they're going to, come out of that bye a little bit differently. And they obviously lost to the Lions, but I still think they got it figured out, right? They're going to get it together, them and Baker. So I do Puka, but if you don't like him, I don't blame you. And then maybe go Godwin. What
about you, Joey? Where are you leaning here?
It's Puka for me. I know, man, I love Christian Kirk, but it's Puka.
Puka, Dale, you going, which way are you leaning here?
Normally I'd probably lean Godwin over Puka, but the matchup is going to give the edge to Puka here.
Mm-hmm. And we say they lost to the Lions as a knock on them, but the Lions are tied for the best record in the NFL and leading their division. The Lions are through 6 weeks, one of the best teams in the NFL. Your Jared Goff share is looking pretty good down there, Joey, huh? One more question in here from George before we get started. Wants to know, should I get rid of James Cook? This question. I think the Bills hate to use him. Should I seek a trade? Joey, I'm going to throw this your way.
I would wait until the end of this week because I think he's going to have a good game. I think he's going to have his best game of the season against the Patriots. And that is when you want to trade him at his ceiling, because I don't think you can get much for him right now. But if he has a good game against the Patriots, I think you can get some nice stuff for him. So go ahead and wait a week. And please don't get injured, James Cook, and then trade him away.
Yeah, I'm with Joey. The I don't expect the usage to really change going forward, and so I think waiting until he has a good game and then trading him is really good advice.
Thank you.
I do agree with you guys here.
I'll just jump in real quick and say the same thing. There's no reason to sell him now. He hasn't done anything. You're not going to get anything back. And whoever currently rosters James Cook, which is you in this case, George, is probably the James Cook truther. So I don't think that unless you're getting an offer for him, unless somebody wants him, feel free. But yeah, I think that you're probably better to wait.
Go ahead, Andrew. I'm going to amend what I said. If you can go get Nico Collins for James Cook, because Nico's on a bye week and you need a wide receiver, the cost for Nico right now might never be this low. So I would make that move. But that's very, very specific. And I would mainly just wait a week.
I see some more questions in here. Pat coming by saying Puka Nacua is Dana White's nephew. So if you needed more reason to start him. Now, I did just fact check this. It is not true, but it is a lot closer to true than I thought it was going to be.
In what way?
Because Dana White's son played Pop Warner football with Puka Nacua growing up, and Puka Nacua developed a close relationship with Dana White that he still maintains to this day.
Huh. Okay.
So it's like nephew. It's not like it's like Uncle Dana, right? But not like his real uncle. That's what I heard too. Yeah.
I got some uncles like that.
Is that why Puka's so good at like cutting? Because he thinks they're flat too? Just like Dana does? Is that not related?
So. Yeah, he gets those science lessons from his uncle right before the show starts. Or
Dana White listened to me in a clubhouse room once.
Yo, that was weird.
10 minutes. It's weird.
Put that on your resume. That's amazing.
I know.
It's actually my header on LinkedIn. Dana White listened to JL in a clubhouse one time.
Yeah. We should make that all of our just LinkedIn. Just Dana White listened to JL on Clubhouse.
Who's JL?
Who's Dana White? Like,
why is that Andrew's title now?
I just start getting messages. Wow. Come here now, wanted to know, who do I start at quarterback this week? Russell Wilson or Sam Howell? This is tight, but Sam Howell's had 2 good weeks in a row, has 2 good matchups coming up the next 2 weeks. I'm rolling Sam Howell out there again in week 7. What are you doing, Andrew?
I mean, I would be quitting this league if this is the option I have. This is terrible. This is like just, but I get it with buys and everything else. You got to make some weird decisions. I would probably be with you. I'd probably be starting Sam Howell. I just don't know. That Russ offense is not good. That whole Broncos team looks just aimless. So yeah, I'd probably go Howell, just thinking on the upside. But I guess it depends too. If you're, projected to win, maybe you need the floor and maybe you don't mind getting a 0 or 5 from your quarterback. But I usually like points, so I'll go Howell.
Yeah. Joey, what about you?
Yeah, I've got Sam Howell as a top 12 quarterback this week at QB 12. But still, he is a top 12 quarterback.
That counts.
Yeah, I would start him over Russ.
He feels a little like a trap. That Giants defense looked fantastic this past week. Just saying.
They do have
it is that Giants. So JL might have a point there.
You really think they can string together 2 positive statements in a row, though? Like, you think you can, like, if they play well again, we'll have to say something good about the Giants 2 weeks in a row now, even though they lost.
The Giants defense. Not all the Giants played well.
Just some of the Giants played well. Well, guys, today we brought Andrew here to play a game that we call Quotey McQuoteFace. Keep your questions coming in the chat. We will answer them throughout the show today. So if we have not gotten to yours yet, do not fret. The only thing that could stop us is a natural disaster, an internet outage, or if my hiccups get so bad that I have to end this show. Sorry, I did eat far too much mac and cheese right before this.
Is hiccups code for something else?
No, not this time.
Okay. All right. Just
not
checking.
this time.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our game here, guys, and we are going to get started. Oop. Let me pull that down so you guys aren't looking at it yet. How this game works is it's a game of quote identification. Before the show, we have found a bunch of quotes from around the league. NFL players, coaches, coordinators, analysts, former players have said these things about what is currently going on in the NFL. We're going to have 3 rounds here, all different kinds of identification for you to score points on. Round 1, 6 quotes. Each of you will get 2 to yourself in turn order. It's going to be multiple choice. We will give you a quote, and there is some piece of information missing, either who said it, the context, or another piece. We'll give you 3 choices. You tell us which one is correct. You will get 1 point for that. After that, we will go into round 2. Each of you will get 1 poll in this round. These are going to be fill in the blank. So we will give you a quote with all of the information, but for 1 piece, whether it be a player name, a team name. It'll be clear what we're looking for in that quote. You tell us what fills in the blank. You are going to get 2 points for successfully doing that. Now, after those 3 quotes, we'll go into round 3, where we're just giving you the words. We're telling you a quote, and what I need you to do is tell me who said it. If you're able to correctly identify who said it, you will get 3 points. There are 3 of those in the last round. They are not going to anybody in particular. You will be buzzing in for those final 3 by saying your name. Whoever has the most points at the end of this will be our champion. JL, I feel like I missed something in the chat here that you that's breaking you down up there.
Yeah, we had one nation come and said, met Chad Johnson at Golden Corral. He's a really good dude. Andrew said, awesome, One Nation. Met him once myself. And then I can only assume this is Joey asking, what was he eating, One Nation? He was eating everything. It's a Golden Corral.
I was curious what he was eating.
I just love the duh of that answer. Like, it was Golden Corral. He's eating everything.
Yeah, he had lobster steak, fried ravioli, orange slices, ice cream, chicken tenders, and lasagna, all on the
Chad
same
Ochocinco
plate.
really only eats McDonald's, so it's actually kind of weird to see him eating anything else. So I think that's a fair question.
It's a little bit shocking to hear that he ate a Golden Corral. It kind of ruins his image for me there.
It's wild. How does he keep that figure?
But what if he's like one of those franchise owners, like the players that own franchises, and he owns a Golden Corral?
That would make more sense to me, actually. Yeah, that he was just there hanging out. Because that's
somebody Google that. I bet he owns a Golden Corral. Like, that just seems like something Chad Johnson would do.
He's very much a business. He's got his own cigar brand, which I'm a big fan of. So like I could totally see him doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to start combining them. Golden Corrals are going to become private clubs in most states so that you can, in fact, smoke inside of them. They're going to have a cigar stand at the front. You come in and you just rip Chad Ochocinco cigars while eating the most average array of everything you've ever consumed in your life.
I love it. That sounds good to me.
Count me in. As long as they're playing Ochocinco highlights on all the TVs the entire time you're in there, then I'll eat at that restaurant.
Was I the only one picturing something really bad for the salad bar? Like they're turning into something else?
Can confidently say yes.
Yep.
C-Dog in here said, do I trade Mahomes for A.J. Brown and Jordan Love? John Luke, you making this move? I'm assuming 1 quarterback?
Assuming 1 quarterback, then absolutely not. I would assume 2 quarterback because it's the only time I would consider this trade. Oh, okay. 1 quarterback, then I'm definitely making this trade. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay.
I was flipping which side I was on. Yeah. If you're trading away Mahomes and getting A.J. Brown, Jordan Love, and 1 quarterback, absolutely. I don't like trading quarterbacks in 1 quarterback league. I am vehemently against it most of the time. 99% of scenarios, you don't need to do that. So in this case, if you get A.J. Brown, that's great. In the more likely scenario, this is super flex. That's a lot to give up for Mahomes. That is a lot to give up for Mahomes. I would maybe do it if I have the depth, or if I don't have the depth in this case, because you're getting rid of Mahomes. But yeah, I probably would not do this otherwise.
Andrew, which way are you rolling here? You want the Mahomes side or the A.J. Brown, Jordan Love side?
Yeah, I mean, in Superflex, I want Mahomes. I feel like receivers are easily replaceable, and Jordan Love has looked a little bit off the, I don't know, just not really what we thought. So I'd be happy to send A.J. Brown and Jordan Love for Mahomes in that situation. So I'm keeping Mahomes in Superflex. And kind of like what JL said, in 1 QB, I don't really care about QB at that point. I'll take the A.J. Brown side because that's just a free A.J. Brown almost. So yeah, Superflex is very different.
All right, well, we're going to hit one more of these questions in here before we go on to the first round of our game. Cameron B wanted to know, thinking of sending off Javonte Williams and Elijah Moore for T. Higgins.
Smash.
Javonte Williams, you guys are all in on that?
Yep.
Easily. Yeah.
Yep. We don't even need the rest of the context, Cameron. Context is great, but that is a beautiful trade, almost regardless of format, unless it's like a point per Javonte team or a point per snap spent on the bench team, in which case you're probably better off on the other side there. All right. Well, Andrew, since you are our guest, before we get into today's game, I want to let you know the order of the quotes is all already decided. You can choose whether you want to go first, second, or third in today's game.
I'm going third. I want to go last. I want to bring up the rear.
Andrew is going third. John Luke, Since you got married most recently, you get to choose whether you want to go second or third. Or first or second, my bad.
First
for JL, which means Joey, you can choose whether you want to go second or second. What would you like to do?
Pick second.
Second.
Okay, Joey, we can make that happen. So JL first, Joey second, followed by Andrew Hall third. Herm's down here saying, find someone who talks about you the same way Chad Ochocinco talks about Golden Corral. And Scott Fish stopped by saying there's a video titled Chad Ochocinco holds back tears talking about Golden Corral.
That's what got me.
This is my Ocho jersey too, so I love it. I'm fully on board for more Ocho talk. This is great.
Ochocinco and your grandfather, Simon.
That's what I was
two people that love Golden Corral the most in this world.
I know I've told this story before, but my grandfather, we're all sitting around the dinner table. He doesn't speak a word of English, like nothing. And we're all talking, and he hears my mom say, "Oh, I love that person." He heard the word love, sits up, middle conversation, goes, "I love Golden Corral," and then just looks back down at his food. We are not at Golden Corral. We are at my parents' house. Just had to let everyone know, like, man, is that place the bomb.
Ochocinco does that every meal.
Love it.
Every non-Golden Corral meal.
Oh, that's
like
great.
His morning prayer. He wakes up and just says, "I love Golden Corral." All right, well, John Luke, you are up first in today's game. You ready for your first quote?
Yep.
Let's do it. Through these first 6 weeks, we've played a gauntlet of quarterbacks. I know we haven't gotten all wins, but we've embarrassed all of them. Who said this? Robert Saleh, Dan Campbell's kneecap, or Dan Campbell on his defense playing well to start the season?
We played a gauntlet of quarterbacks. I know we haven't gotten all wins, but we've embarrassed all of them. Let's go with Saleh.
Final answer?
Yes.
It's absolutely correct. Robert Saleh came out and speaking some truth. They've looked great defensively this year. John Luke, do these Jets have a legitimate shot at the playoffs with Zach Wilson under center?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Andrew, you agree with John Luke here? The defense looks like a playoff caliber defense. Do you think this offense can do enough to get them there?
I mean, in this day and age in the NFL, if your defense can shut anybody down, offenses can get quirky and get lucky in the end of games. We see it all the time. We saw it on Sunday night too, where, and any play can happen and an offense can break it out. So I do think it's a chance. And I love that you picked a picture of Robert Saleh where he's about to say front yard fantasy, right? That's the only possible word.
Front yard fantasy.
He's just really excited about the show. So it's really excellent choice on the picture.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the mic'd up to come out from this week to finally get that shout out from him. It's going to be phenomenal.
Paid $20 for it. Yeah, it's a new cameo.
Luke, that is correct, earning you 1 point and an early little lead over your competitors here in this one, but just a little one, just a little lead. We'll have to see if you can hold on to it. Joey, that brings you up next. Are you ready for your first quote?
Can't wait.
Yo. Hey, sir, timeout. Trying to call a timeout. Is this A, Bill Belichick, B, Zach Wilson, or C, Mike McDaniel?
I like trying to picture Bill Belichick saying this. I do feel like this is, this is Mike McDaniel. I feel like pretty confidently.
Final answer?
Yeah.
This is Mike McDaniel.
I thought it was Zach Wilson.
I'm screaming, yo.
Sir.
Yo, hey, sir.
Sir. I feel like that's classic Zach Wilson beta move right there.
Well, if it was more like, yo, hey, mom. You know what I mean?
Joey, this Miami
Dolphins
team, Mike McDaniel has been a, I'm looking for the right word to describe the way he's presented himself to the press and the media this year.
A phenomenon?
A phenomenon. That's a great word to describe it. Do you think we're going to start seeing other teams try to follow the Mike McDaniel template here? Like this young, maybe more of a player's coach after the success that we've seen here in Miami?
I guess there's no better time to do this than now. I'm the new head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. So yes, that is me. No, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's only one Mike McDaniel. And I think we need to see how the experiment goes. It's going well so far.
The chat down here was mostly all over that one with the Mike McDaniel talk in there. Nice job, guys. Tim said, my coach, Mr. McDaniel. And One Nation wants to know, is McDaniel a pothead? He always seems baked. Now he's ripping that jewel on the sideline is what he's doing. we got video proof of the jewel rips last year.
Come on.
Come on. All right. Well, Andrew, 1-1 after their first two polls. It's your opportunity to tie it up here. Are you ready?
No, but go ahead.
Okay, here we go. He was mad at himself for running the wrong release on a route. I'm tired of hearing all this nonsense from people. It ticks me off when people want to say something about him. And this was on Stefon Diggs getting upset on the sideline. Was this A, Josh Allen, B, Sean McDermott, or C, Stefon Diggs?
I'm tempted to say Stefon Diggs, but we all know we hopefully know that's not true, but talking in third person, I wouldn't put it past him. I'm going to go with Sean McDermott. That just feels more like a Sean McDermott quote to me than a Josh Allen quote, just on vibes.
Final answer?
Sure.
I am sorry. It was his best friend, Josh Allen, looking out for his buddy. It ticks me off when people want to say something about him.
Yeah.
Best buds standing up for each other.
Andrew, well, he did in that fight too. Like he dove in there and kind of got the guy out of the Okereke. I think he knocked him out of the way and stuff. So maybe I should have thought about that.
No, it's all good. Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs have had a pretty good year so far this year. Do you think Stefon Diggs, what's the ceiling for a player like him towards the back half of the season? Is he in that tier 1 with like the Tyreek Hills, or are you putting him a tier below?
I think he's in that. That's the ceiling. Like his ceiling is tier 1 for sure. It just that offense needs to start cooking, and they're not really there yet. I feel like they're, kind of underwhelming the last couple of weeks. Even they haven't shown what they did last year with all the touchdowns. Like there weren't as many long bombs to Gabe Davis and stuff like that. Like they're usually scoring 30, 40 points, and now they're scoring 14 to 20. It just feels a little bit meh.
Well, at least
hopefully you can turn it on.
At least the touchdowns that Josh Allen did throw this week were really helpful for fantasy, going to Quinton Morris and Deontay Hardy.
Yep.
So luckily, lots of fantasy managers got to just roll around in the joy and surplus of fantasy points thrown by Josh Allen.
At least Allen threw them. I mean, that was helpful for me in a couple leagues where I have Allen. So I was like, all right, better than nothing.
Herms Diner said, in fairness, there is a famous video of Diggs saying, "I'm him." So it wouldn't be so far out of character for the man to refer to himself as him.
Well, thanks, Herms. That's true.
And Herms also was agreeing with C. Would be very awesome on that one. Wanted it to be C.
I want to see video of that.
Guys, that is the first 3 polls. We're going to loop back to John Luke here. Before we do that, though, a couple reminders for everybody. If you got questions, keep throwing them in the chat. We will answer those throughout the show. But if you want to make sure you never miss any of our live shows every day at 3 p.m., we're playing games and answering questions every day, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Just like Robert Saleh will say, as soon as the Mic'd Up is released this week. So be on the lookout for that. JL, with that said, I'm going to ask you a question and then move on to the next quote. You ready for this?
Yep.
Craig wanted to know, what is the best company to go to when I'm trying to get my CRSI certification for the fabrication of epoxy-coated reinforcement?
Lowe's.
Okay. Andrew, do you have a different place you usually go for your CRSI certification for the fabrication of epoxy-coated reinforcement?
No, I let my certification lapse a few years ago, Craig, so I don't know where the best place to go is these days. Classic
Lowe's,
Craig question. I love it.
As I said.
Yeah, JL already answered that question, Andrew.
I know, I just love it.
We got Gavin in here with a question. Said, I have Herbert, Kyron Williams, Pollard, Aaron Jones, and Jerome Ford at the running back position. He's trying to get Jonathan Taylor. Would an offer of Jerome Ford or Calvin Ridley or both get it done? I don't think you're getting it done with those 2 players. I don't think the Jonathan Taylor manager is going to send that back. You're going to have to send, at a minimum, Aaron Jones or Tony Pollard as part of that deal. I feel like to get Jonathan Taylor in return, and I'm probably not doing that. Joey, what do you think here?
I think if you can do either Aaron Jones or Kyron, which is going to be hard to do Kyron with an injury, with Ridley, I think that would be fine to get JT. I'm looking at your receivers real quick. I'm not letting Zay Flowers go. He is a superstar. And I don't want to let Ayuk, Chase, or Cup go. Yeah, you've got a good team here, though. I'm not even sure you need to really make this trade, to be honest with you.
Grimfan wants to know, are you guys selling Kittle? Andrew, are you trying to sell Kittle at this point in the season?
After last week's 3 touchdowns, yeah, but not this week. I mean, you kind of missed your window a little bit there. I don't think you can. Again, it's so reactionary, and it's obviously everything's in a vacuum. Right? I always like more context, but I don't think as a blanket statement, I'm not selling Kittle yet. No.
Yeah, you'd be selling low.
Yeah.
He's got a really, really good matchup this week where if you look at guys like Sam Laporta and TJ Hawkinson, they have really bad matchups. So I think Kittle's going to have a good week as far as where he finishes as a tight end. So yeah, wait.
He's going up against Minnesota this week.
Mm-hmm. Our Scandinavian friend is back with a beautiful family name. These nuts, my name is Jeff, wants to know, should I send Saquon and Goddard for Bijan is what I'm guessing this is supposed to say. So send Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert, receive Bijan in return. Has Waller as a second tight end after Dallas Goedert. Andrew, you making this move?
It feels a little heavy, but at the same time, I don't mind getting out of the Saquon game. Godare hasn't really been that flashy, and they obviously just signed another offensive piece. So if you can send Saquon and Goddard to get Bijan, I don't hate it. I'd probably rather hold, but I don't mind that trade either if you really, really like Bijan Robinson, which most people do. So I get it.
I really, really like Bijan Robinson, like you said, Andrew, and I'm making this trade. I would go ahead and do that. Separate myself from this Giants offense as much as possible without downgrading a tier at running back. Joey, what say you?
Try sending Waller and Saquon first, and if that gets rejected, then throw Goddard in, because I'd rather keep Goddard if I could.
It's a good call. One Nation with one more Chad Ochocinco story that I can't tell if he's just messing with us now. Said also was eating a Cheesecake Factory. Ocho pulled up into the valet in a pink 64 Impala with Piglet embroidered in the headrest and a Piglet car seat and backpack with his kid. Great dad and badass car.
Seems way too specific to be made up.
One Nation, that is freaking awesome that you've got two stories with him and so on brand that they're at Cheesecake Factory and Golden Corral. I think that's incredible. Go ahead, Joey.
No, I was gonna say I really hope One Nation comes in every day with a new story about Chad Ochocinco to chain restaurant,
and they get like oddly more and more specific, like with each one, like just wow.
Chad Ochocinco farted in the Applebee's booth yesterday.
Smelled like
it was a leather seat, so it was like.
Luke in here had one more question for us before we get back into our game. It's a smaller trade. Just traded DeAndre Hopkins away for Devonta Smith. He likes Smith better rest of season potential wise. What does everyone think? Andrew, whenever you look at this, which player would you rather roster rest of season, D-Hop or D. Smith?
D. Smith. Yeah, I think Devonta Smith is just a different guy. And I think as much as I like D. Hopkins, I think he's past his prime a little bit, and that offense is probably going to be really wild with Malik Willis. So I don't know if I really want anybody on that team other than Henry at this point. And even him, I don't know if I really want. But Smith is on a high-powered offense, going to get a lot of attention, get a lot of looks. So, yeah, Devonta for me.
Joey, what about you? I know you were high on Devonta Smith heading into the year. Is he still above D-Hop for you?
He's one of my favorite buy low players. It has to turn around for him. He's on one of the best offenses in the league. Julio Jones arriving there doesn't make, of course, it wouldn't make me feel any less about Devonta Smith. I'm fine with this trade.
I'm saying, reminds me of that one time I saw Chad Ochocinco at a Fuddruckers singing opera music behind the dumpster where the servers take smoke breaks.
Rockville Bike.
Are any of you guys old enough to remember
Fuddruckers?
Where Fuddruckers used to have an actual meat hanging in the windows?
No,
the old person they used to. Yeah.
I probably blocked that memory out. Yeah. Oof.
I used to love Fuddruckers, man. I didn't eat burgers, but I just something about that place. It was my favorite restaurant as a kid growing up. Give me those potato wedges.
I wasn't allowed to say Fuddruckers when I was a kid.
That's fair. Makes sense. Sounds like give you an itch, and all of a sudden you're just running around screaming everything else too. All right, John Luke, we are back to you for your next poll. Are you ready for the beginning of the second half of round one?
I suppose so. Give me the poll.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought of him as just a bridge or a stopgap or whatever. It was this narrative that he was just a bridge. And I always thought that was kind of a lazy narrative and a big example of recency bias. This is on trading for Jared Goff. Was this A, Dan Campbell, B, Dan Campbell's kneecap, or C, Detroit GM Brad Holmes?
I feel like this can't be Dan Campbell because there's no man in here. It doesn't say man anywhere. I'm gonna go with Dan Campbell. I think you're trying to throw me off.
Dan Campbell, final answer?
Yeah.
No man was a tell. This was Brad Holmes, JL.
That's why there was no man in there.
Exactly. You sniffed it out and then went back on yourself. Anyways, Brad Holmes did say this about Jared Goff, who's been playing really well so far this season. John Luke, do you think this is more of a long-term solution for the Lions at quarterback here, kind of like Brad Holmes is alluding to?
Yeah, I think Goff is good enough to definitely continue pushing this team forward. I think the issue that I saw from Goff early on in his career is that he just can't do it alone. He's not the type of quarterback that's going to come in and elevate every single other aspect of the team. But Jared Goff's in a system that I see as supportive. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, the team that they're building there, I do believe in. So I think Jared Goff can be that guy.
Joe, you were a Jared Goff believer heading into the season. Though, correct me if I'm wrong. I think a lot of it was if the weapons around him are going to be great, he has to be great. Is your opinion of him as a quarterback elevated through what we've seen through 6 weeks?
It's changed. I was very high on Jared Goff coming into the season, and I pretty much said to everybody, when Jared Goff's at home, start him. But he proved last week in Tampa Bay, when he's away from home, you start him too. Jared Goff, top 10 quarterback rest of the season.
Let's start him. Start Jared Goff always is the rules now. Well, Joey, that brings us to your next quote. Are you ready?
Is it my turn? Yep. I'm ready to answer this question correctly.
The big dude. He looks like a vending machine out there on Dolphins' new wide receiver, Chase Claypool. Was this Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, or Mike McDaniel?
This is Tyreek Hill.
You sure?
I feel like it is. I don't think you give me 2 Mike McDaniels in a row, and Tyreek Hill will be like, he's a big dude. I could just see him being like really animated saying this. Okay. Yeah.
No, you are absolutely correct. Tyreek Hill is the person who compared Chase Claypool to a vending machine, which is maybe the funniest thing to compare someone who's
so accurate too. Just sitting there taking change. You know what I mean?
Over and over and over again. Yeah. Joey, do you have any optimism for Chase Claypool here in the Miami Dolphins for a career resurgence in Miami?
No, I think they need to get him out of that locker room. I'm scared. I don't want anything bad to happen to this Dolphins team. I want Tim to be happy.
Interesting. On your head down there. Do you agree?
I do agree. I think it was an interesting move to trade for him. Obviously, they didn't give up much, so there's low risk, that the pick swap and all this. But I'm kind of where Joey is. Like, I don't know if I want to put anybody else in this and mess this mojo up. Like, I don't want to put anybody else in this locker room that could be a cancer. And Chase Claypool has seemed like he's been, I don't know, extracized or, ostracized even from 2 different teams. I don't think I want to put him on my good team. Now, if it was like the Jets or some team that was struggling and could use a little bit of drama to distract, sure. But the Dolphins are killing it. They don't need that drama. So I'm curious to see how this goes, but I'm not buying Chase Claypool or anything like that anywhere for that matter.
Also, I see One Nation down here saying, check and hate and call me a liar. All you want about those Ocho Cinco stories. I don't care. One Nation, I fully believe you.
Yeah, totally. That's all of that sounds like Chad. So
everything you've said, 100% believed so far.
I just want there to be more. That's all.
I know.
Tim said the cheetah, penguin, and vending machine lining up is something.
A cheetah, a penguin, and a vending machine. I'll walk into Miami. Yeah, it's a fun joke.
Mike McDaniel gets a Super Bowl. That's the punchline.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Andrew, that's going to bring us to your next poll here. Joey's got a lead of 2-1 at this point. You can close the gap a little bit and tie it with JL. You ready?
Yes.
Let's do it. Straight off the couch on where he hails from. Was this A, Joey Wright, B, Justin Pugh, or C, Aaron Rodgers?
This was maybe the highlight of the whole game. If you want to get this is the one that got me the most excited or I laughed the hardest. It was B, Justin Pugh. And I'll be honest, that's exactly where he hailed from too. It was brilliant. I loved it.
Justin Pugh in his intro comes in saying, Justin Pugh, straight off the couch.
So confident. Yeah, I loved it.
It was incredible. After not starting for a year, he gets pulled up, thrown directly into the starting lineup, and did his best out there on the football field.
He played. That's better than the other 2 options.
Is there any hope that this Giants offensive line sees improvement as the season goes on, or is this going to continue to just be the offensive struggles we've seen through the first 6 weeks?
I mean, I feel like it can only improve at this point. I mean, I don't know if it can get much worse. So, I mean, I want to say yes to because I'm an optimist. I feel like everything has a chance to get better, and the more teams play together and the more players play together, the more chemistry they get and all this. So I'm just kind of, sitting in my optimistic world, and I do have a lot of Saquon shares across my league. So that could be nice. I got a couple Danny Dimes, but I've avoided that. So, yeah, I hope it gets better. But, yeah, I don't know if it can get really much worse than it is lately with Tyrod at quarterback.
Well, Andrew, that's going to get you up to 1 point. The score is 1-2-1
on the board.
Round here. We have a couple questions I wanted to hit before we get into our next one. Grim fan in here wants to know Kittle, Goddard, or Logan Thomas, full PPR. Joey, which of these 3 thrown into your lineup?
It's going to be Kittle for me. I've got Goddard at tight end 4, but I've got Kittle at tight end 3. They're both really highly ranked for me this week. Logan Thomas, while I like the talent, he's not in this conversation this week for him.
What about you, Andrew? Are you in agreement here with Joey, or are you going a different route?
I agree, but I'd try to start all of them if I could. I mean, with the way this week is lining up, you're going to be starting some really odd running backs and tight end running receivers and things like that. You might have all 3 of them in your lineup if you got enough flex spots. So I think this is the right order, and I'm with Joey. I think Kittle's going to be a really good play this week.
I prefer Dallas Goedert against Miami, but I do like George Kittle as well. But I think Dallas Goedert would be my start out of these 3. But I'm with you guys. If you can fit him and Kittle in there, get them both in. Jill, it looks like you were about to jump in and say the same thing. Are you on the Goddard side here?
Philly? Oh my God, it's gonna be so much fun to watch. Yeah, I'd go Goddard.
We're doing a night out for that game, my friends and I. It's gonna be an exciting one.
Nice.
At the Red Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
No, we're going to Golden Corral. What are you talking about?
Nice.
Buddy Chad's gonna meet us over there in his 64 Impala that's got Piglet all over it. It's gonna be a good time.
What a great dad.
Yeah.
Drain here had a question.
At home.
Should I trade Pittman and Derrick Henry for Ridley, Pacheco, and Jacoby Myers? I don't have any depth, and my 2 running backs are Mixon and Kyron Williams in a 12-man league. Joey, you making this move? On the surface, it looks gross, but this is one you're doing?
I don't think it looks that gross. I think Calvin Ridley can still get involved in this Jacksonville offense. Isaiah Pacheco is the RB12 right now, and Jacoby Myers is getting targets in Las Vegas. They're only targeting 3 players. It's Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, and Jacoby Myers. I think you've got 3 really quality role players. And Derrick Henry, we've seen Spears get involved more and more by the week. And Michael Pittman, okay, Gardner Minshew's there now. He's going to get more passes. But I like this trade if you need the depth.
Chad Ochocinco stopping by to say, what time, Joey? Just let him know and he'll be there.
Let's go, buddy.
Love it.
The game starts at 8, so be there at 7:30.
He just wants to know so he'll know when you show up because he's already going to be at Golden Corral. He's ready, baby. One more question in here before we get started. Eric said maybe too vague. Well, our answer is maybe vague in response then. But I actually think this is a good question. It says fairly balanced roster, has first waiver priority. So this is a league that is not fab based, has waiver priority. Wants to know if he should go ahead and use it or save it and who our top ads are this week. Andrew, do you have any waiver priority advice? And are there any players that would be worth it this week to you?
I'm in a couple leagues that are like this, that have rolling waiver order, and they're not based on record, and it's not based, just kind of, if you don't use it, you just bump up the next week. And I've had this decision a couple of times. And what I usually think to myself is if I'm not going to be starting that player, I'm not going to waste my number 1 waiver claim on them. I get that there are a lot of buys and there are a lot of injuries, so that there is a very high likelihood that someone like a Zach Evans, for instance, might be someone you would need to start this week. If that's the case, since the question is vague, the answer gets to be vague, like you said. If that's the case and you're going to start whoever you're picking up, then yeah. But if you're just going to start to stash or like grab them to stash on your bench, I don't think that's worth the waiver claim at this point. There's going to be a lot more injuries and buys that come up. There's going to be a lot more interesting things that happen. Obviously, Julio just got signed. I just saw James Robinson got signed. So like there's a couple players that are going to start coming in. We've heard Leonard Fournette obviously visiting the Bills. Like any of those guys goes to the right spot and they become the number 1 waiver claim, immediately. So I'd probably hold on unless it's a starter. That's probably the easiest, vaguest answer I can give you.
Yeah, Eric, I was going to say your question almost answers this for me. The fact that you're asking if you should use it probably means that there's not a player sitting there that's worth your number 1 waiver priority in this league. There's a lot of value in that. Too much value in the number 1 waiver.
Well, and he's 6-0. He doesn't need something, right? So like I would hold on until you need it, until there's again, we're after 6 weeks, it starts to get a little bit trickier, but yeah, I'd hold on.
Some leagues are fun. Eric, see if you can trade that priority away.
I don't have anywhere I can trade that, but that would be cool. Well, you could make a claim for someone and trade the player. I've done that.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, I've got the number 1 claim. I'll grab Zach Evans and trade him for someone.
Is that collusion? I don't
know, because the other player could still not trade you and you wouldn't have a leg to stand on. As long as the trade that's executed is fair, then I've got no issue.
No, I agree. Like, I don't think it's collusion. I'm just saying, like,
it's getting close. Yeah.
It's flirting with it. It is flirting with it. One more question here, guys. Scott wants to know, as people are really all over the map on this Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason thing with CMC potentially missing time, where do you all stand? John Luke, Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason, go.
I'd probably lean Jordan Mason over Elijah Mitchell, but I think both of these guys will likely get worked into this offense. Elijah Mitchell last year, we saw him he played decently. He played really decently, especially on the ground. But I would lean Mason.
Man, I understand Elijah Mitchell's health being a concern here, but Kyle Shanahan came out and said, if Christian McCaffrey's out, Elijah Mitchell is our dude. We trust him. We know what he can do. We've seen him do it, and I'm just going to roll Elijah Mitchell. I'm going to roll that way. Andrew, you're with JL here, not trusting what Shanahan's saying?
I'm with JL. I think the actions speak louder than words. They've played Jordan Mason. He's actually looked pretty good from what I've seen of him anyway. I mean, I haven't seen every snap, but what I have seen, he's looked pretty, explosive. And I think that with Elijah coming back from injury, I don't know if there's any reason to lean on him when they've got Mason they could lean on for now. In a week, that could be very different. But
especially in the pass game. They don't use Mitchell in the pass game much.
I don't know.
That's fair.
Dustin coming in. This is another important piece of information that everyone should know. Tyrion Davis-Price is also on this team as a running back. And Monday, when they will be playing the Vikings, is his birthday.
Perfect.
Oh.
Let's really break this down. Maybe take 13 minutes to really break it down to see where we really stand on this.
Oh, because
birthdays.
Weird. When the score's 2-1, Joey suddenly wants the show to slow down.
I'm gonna filibuster this one.
But we are heading into round 2 here. Get ready for that birthday game. But John Luke, this is your next poll. We are moving on to our fill in the blank ones. Are you ready?
Give me the next poll.
Not poll. Question. My bad. This is Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. He said they didn't push my blank enough.
Ass.
Final answer?
Yes.
Push. They didn't push my
Does that count?
enough. John Luke, I am going to give you credit, but this is an ever so close instance of it. It's called the
collusion.
But you knew what he was trying to say. Yeah, it didn't work. All this talk about the push tush being illegal or should be made illegal, and we've seen multiple teams fail at it over the past couple of weeks, including Dallas trying to get it. John Luke, that is going to earn you a point, and we are going to move on to Joey's next quote. Joey, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
How's Joey have 2 already?
Because he got both.
I answered both mine correct.
You had 2 already?
So did you. That was your third one, John Luke.
Oh.
The score's not updated. I've still got the 1.
And now I've got to update. Andrew, you also have 1 point. JL has 2 points now after getting that one right, but you have had one less poll than these guys.
Correct.
Joey, here's your next poll. So if you've ever got a problem with Agent 89, I'm sorry for saying that you're an average wide receiver, that they eventually will move on. And when teams call me asking, should they trade for you? I will say, no, don't trade for blank, because he's mentally unable to handle criticism from people who watch specifically whether he could be a wide receiver.
This is an insane clip. This was nuts. Talking about.
Final answer?
Yeah.
This is Steve Smith talking about Jerry Jeudy. Because Jerry Jeudy didn't want anything to do with him after Steve Smith tried to apologize for calling him just a guy, and Steve Smith went off on Jerry Jeudy.
Could you imagine if you had to take Steve Smith's daughter to prom? That would be so intimidating. He's not a big guy, but man, I watched that clip and I almost pooped my pants.
What's funny is I watched that clip and I almost pooped your pants too. I mean, it was ridiculous.
It's insane.
I'm just imagining, if I'm Jerry Jeudy, that's playing in my mind every night when I close my eyes is the word Steve Smith said about me. You know what I mean? When I close my eyes, I just start hearing that. How disappointing I was to one of the greatest wide receivers ever. We got Chad Ochocinco stopping by in the chat saying, when I go to Golden Corral, I eat nothing but carrot cake, meatloaf, and golden delicious shrimp covered in corn pudding and gummy bears from the ice cream bar.
My exact order. How do you know?
Golden Corral special.
In Lo Mein.
I love it.
The corn pudding got me.
The gummy bears got me.
Well, Joey, that is going to bring you up to 5 points. Dale, actually, you have 3 because these are worth 2 apiece. That is my bad after that one. The score's 5-3 to 1. But Andrew, you've got the opportunity here to tie JL with your next poll, filling in this blank properly. Are you ready?
Sure.
Get it. Offense needs more production from guys not named blank. This comes from Bengals OC Brian Callahan.
I mean, I'm thinking it needs to be from guys not named Joe Burrow, but it feels too obvious. So I'm going to say Burrow.
Final answer?
Sure.
Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase was the player they're looking for.
You think I would have heard that?
Been a stud so far since he's come back.
Yes.
Andrew, maybe you're just blocking some of that out right now.
Yeah,
while
maybe.
Joe Burrow's getting healthy again. Things are shaping up for the Bengals. But it was, in fact, Jamar Chase. Andrew, and if you look at this Bengals offense, outside of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins has been injured Are there any other receiving options that you think can be contributors? We've always known Tyler Boyd on a weekly basis can be plugged in. Any tight ends, or is it Boyd or bust at this point?
Well, so obviously with Higgins being hurt, everybody elevated Boyd to their fantasy rosters, and he was a little bit disappointing. And Trenton Irwin has had a really good run. I know that Andre Yoshevich just got his first touchdown at the game this week. That was awesome to see. I do think that, Charlie Jones could be somebody that matters when he comes back and things like that. So I don't think it's going to be just Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I do think it's going to be a mixture of all those guys. And I think that if there's anything that the Bengals need, it's a tight end. And Irv Smith has not been it. I mean, he caught one, I think, of 2 targets this week, and we just didn't do much. He just can't get open, it seems like. And even when he does, I don't know, I'm just not wowed by him. So, yeah, I feel like it's probably more likely to be Irwin if Higgins is out, and then Boyd if Higgins is in, if that makes sense.
Herm's down here with a great guess of Carson Palmer. This is not Carson Palmer, but phenomenal.
Ocho Cinco would have been a great answer too. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to move into our final round here now. The score is 3-4-1 with Joey in the lead. But this last round works a little bit differently and gives an opportunity to close that gap. There are 3 quotes that are going to be presented one at a time. This is not in turn order anymore. As soon as the quote shows up, you are eligible to buzz in. You can interrupt me. You do not have to finish. Wait for me to finish saying the quote. If you know who said it or think you know who said it, buzz in by saying your own name. Get it right, you're going to get 3 points. Get it wrong, you are eliminated from guessing again until your other 2 competitors have guessed or passed. You guys ready for this next one?
Yeah, sure.
Here we go. It's always tough to miss that last kick, but
Andrew.
that happens in football. I heard Andrew ever so slightly first. Andrew, who said this?
I can't think of the name now. Kyle Shanahan.
At your final answer.
Sure.
I am just confirming that this is who I think it is before I click yes, because I closed out my answer key on accident.
Stall.
This is Kyle Shanahan. I knew it the whole time. Nice job, Andrew.
Dude, I almost said Mike Shanahan. I'm like, that's not right. Oh my God. Oh,
that's when you go Jeopardy style and just say Shanahan.
Yeah, well, I thought about that. Too vague.
Andrew, that's going to bring you up to 4 points there. By knowing that Kyle Shanahan was a little disappointed about that loss to the Browns in week 6. You think they bounce back, or is this the beginning of the end for the 49ers season?
Oh, they bounce back. I don't think this is anything to freak out about.
Andrew, that's going to tie you for the lead after just that one. It is now 4-4-3. You ready for this next one?
Sure.
Hell, you were so close on that one. Andrew buzzed in just ever so slightly before you. See if you get it on this one. There's no timetable right now. It's really going to come down to grip strength. There's natural swelling that occurs with this injury, so we should know more. Okay, Andrew, who said this?
Brandon Staley?
Brandon Staley is incorrect.
Oh, okay.
I'll keep reading this quote. There's natural swelling that occurs with this injury, so we should know more at the end of this week. John Luca Joey.
JL.
Okay.
Let's go with CMC.
CMC is incorrect, unfortunately. Joey, do you want to take a shot at this?
No.
Okay, Joey's passing. If anybody wants to buzz in again for another guess, you can. Otherwise, if we get 2 passes, we will move on.
I remember hearing about this grip strength thing, and I just thought.
Okay, John Luke.
This is Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, firmly grasp it, is incorrect, unfortunately. But I like that guess. I'm going to give it 5 more seconds for anyone to buzz in before we move on.
Andrew, might as well guess.
Okay, 1 more shot from Andrew. Let's hear it.
Brian Dable.
Brian Dable is incorrect. We had a couple correct answers in the chat. Our friend Vi coming by with what the quote is about with Justin Fields. This is Matt Eberflus talking about Justin Fields and his dislocated thumb. Craig in here got this one. Mr. Scampers got this one. One Nation with Chicago's coach on Fields. Ladarius knew this one as well. Nice job.
Would Chicago's coach have counted?
I would have counted Chicago's coach.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good to know.
If you're able to identify, Tush, ass, Chicago's coach, GM of
all the same thing.
We'll accept them as long as you're trying to say what we're looking for. All right. Well, it's all going to come down to this last one. Truly.
So exciting.
Whoever gets this last one is the champion of today's game. If nobody gets it, Joey and Andrew are going to tie 3 points for this one. Here is your final quote. I think he's fueled by doubt. I don't think. I know he's fueled by doubt. Okay, John Luke. Who said this?
Salah.
Final answer?
Yes.
Or the win. This was Robert Saleh talking about Aaron Rodgers working to come back from injury.
Good job, JL.
I thought he was talking about Zach Wilson. Thank God you didn't ask me what he was talking about.
John Luke with the buzzer beater. The process doesn't matter. We're looking at results, baby. And you're pulling down that W. Andrew, so close to pulling it off there at the end. JL ever so slightly edged both you and Joey out. 6-4 as the final score of this game.
Mark it, Craig.
Anyone you'd like to thank, Joe?
I'd like to thank Barack Obama.
Barack Obama, thank you for JL's victory today. We appreciate it. Andrew, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and play our game Quotey McQuoteFace with us today.
Oh, it was a good time. Even though I didn't win, I felt like I put in a valiant effort. And now I'm 0 for 4, which is a terrific spot to be. Next time you guys have me on, I'll be 0 for 5. It'll be awesome.
Should update your LinkedIn header.
Yeah, what was it going to be again? Something about JL talked to Dana White once, right? That's what we're going to do.
To me on Clubhouse.
Dana White listened to
JL. That's right. Dana White listened to JL on Clubhouse.
Quietly listened.
All right. Well, everybody watching, if you're not already following our friend Andrew on Twitter, go and fix that right now. You can find him at Andrew Hall FF. Check out his work at Fantasy Pros and his shows Dynasty Junkies podcast and the All Day Both Ways podcast as well. That is going to be it for us today. Another huge thanks to Andrew. Big thanks to everybody in the chat who stopped by to hang out with us. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time for some more fantasy football game show fun. Until then, get your waiver wire claims in. Elijah Mitchell or Jordan Mason, pick your side. Let us know if you got them tomorrow. Adios, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Congrats
See you there
on Scott Fishbowl.